Masterless Visions are what is left behind of a vision after its owner dies. They are items which we don't know that much about, leaving a lot of room for speculation. In this video, I'll go over the origins of visions and Masterless Visions, my speculation on the requirements for reactivating a vision, and what characters we know of that have reactivated a vision and how they did it. Also, if you like this video, consider subscribing. It helps me out a lot and I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, let's move right on and get into the video. Visions are tools that are used by certain people called allogenes to harness the power of the elements and wield elemental energy. These allogenes are capable of one day becoming a god and ascending to Celestia, although this knowledge is unheard of to these people, and is a secret only the gods and the Traveler know. As for how they are granted, we currently don't have a definition that is set in stone. All we know is that they are given as a form of acknowledgement from the gods, and more specifically, Celestia. Even researchers from the Sumeru Academia don't know much more about visions than this. However, the Traveler does have a bit more insight than most people, as I had implied earlier. We were told about allogenes from Venti at the end of the Mondstadt Archon quests, and if we listen to both Zhongli's and Ryan Shogun's voice lines titled About the Vision, we can learn a bit more about them.
Visions are also a type of contract. You should know that all power comes at a price. For every bit of power you gain, so too do you gain more responsibility.
Really? So in all this time, no new electrovisions have appeared in the outside world? Well, what I can say on this topic is subject to certain constraints, but it is not by my will that visions are granted or denied. The key is people's desire, and, well, there's another side to it too.
Starting with Zhongli's voice line, we learn that visions do come with a price. Besides the responsibility that one should have while wielding elemental power, I'm not sure as to what exactly the price of having a vision could be, but I'm sure that we will learn more about the price down the line, perhaps from Lesser Lord Kusanali. Moving on to Ryan Shogun's voice line now, we learn that Archons themselves are not the ones who choose who gains a vision or not, and that part of it is actually the desire of the people. There's also another side to it that even she cannot tell us about, and she has said that talking about the topic is under certain constraints, which most likely means that Celestia doesn't want people to know too much. Also, while the Archons themselves don't grant visions, I still think that their will has some sort of influence on the process. They most likely aren't aware of this, as Ryan was surprised when we told her that no new electrovisions had been granted in the year following the enactment of the Vision Hunt Decree. Anyways, as for Masterless Visions, they are created when a vision bearer dies, and the light and elemental power in their vision fades away, leaving only the empty shell. This empty shell has no elemental powers and has no real purpose. However, I don't think that the death of its owner is the only way that a vision can lose its power. As we saw in the Inazuma Archon quests, visions are highly tied to ambitions and the beliefs of the people who possess them. This fact led me to think that perhaps a drastic change in a person's ambitions or beliefs could result in their vision losing its power, which would show how they have truly changed. There is one big character who I believe this may have happened to, but I'll go over that in the final section of this video. For now, I'd like to go on to the next section, where I talk about my ideas for the requirements needed to reactivate a vision, and why it is so unheard of. So now, let's jump right in. The requirements for reactivating a Masterless Vision are not exactly known, but we can get a few ideas from what we've seen. During the climax of the Inazuma Archon quests, we see Kazuha reactivate his fallen friend's vision, allowing him to parry the Raiden Shogun's Musono Hitotachi and save the traveler. From this, we can speculate on the requirements. First, you must be in possession of or be in the proximity of a Masterless Vision, which would allow you to resonate with it. If you do not fulfill this requirement, you can't reactivate the Masterless Vision, as you literally don't have it. The second requirement is a bit more abstract, and that is sharing the ambition of the person who once owned the vision. I say this is abstract, as ambitions are something that is not definable in just one way. Ambitions come in all different strengths and mean different things to different people. Thus, finding a Masterless Vision and resonating with the ambition of its previous owner could be a daunting task to some. There are also occasions where one could reactivate a Masterless Vision only temporarily. For example, in a brief moment where the ambition of the previous owner matches the short-term goal of the person who currently possesses it. If it matches a long-term goal, however, the reactivation may be permanent, allowing the person to use its rekindled elemental energy to its fullest potential, and continuing the ambition of its previous owner. Speaking of rekindling Masterless Visions, let's now move on from this short section and into the characters who have done just that. Let's start off this final section with the character that we all know reactivated a Masterless Vision. I mentioned him earlier on, and he is of course Kaedehara Kazuha. During the climax of the Inazuma Archon quests, he reactivated his dead friend's Electrovision, allowing him to parry the Raiden Shogun's Musono Hitotachi. While the reactivation was only temporary, he was able to save the traveler's life, while also fulfilling the ambition of his friend. There will always be those who dare to brave the lightning's glow. Kazuha did brave the lightning's glow, proving his friends thought that someone could withstand the lightning as correct. Kazuha successfully reactivating this vision also begs another question. Can a person permanently wield two visions? While Kazuha did wield two visions, this was only temporary, as the Electrovision once again deactivated, leaving him with only his Animo Vision. Perhaps one day we'll meet a character with two strong ambitions, and thus two different visions. Anyways, outside of Kazuha, there are two more characters that we know of who have successfully rekindled a Masterless Vision. Although this time, we are unsure of who they originally belonged to. Thus, I'll be giving my thoughts on who I think these visions originally belonged to before these two characters obtained them. The first of these two characters is Ningguang, who found or obtained a Masterless Vision one day, supposedly already being the Tianquan. Anyways, she was able to reactivate this Geovision when she thought of the riches she could have if she put it up for auction, as Masterless Visions are very rare. The vision obviously had other plans, and Ningguang of course was recognized with the power of Geo. While she was upset with it initially, she now uses it to help defend Liyue Harbor and keep her home safe. Anyways, let's now get into my thoughts on who this vision could have belonged to. I took a brief look through some of Liyue's historical characters, but could not find one who seemed to match an ambition relating to having a load of riches. Well, that was until I thought of one character that you all know, and while this theory is unlikely, it's still fun to think about. The character I think this vision may have once belonged to long ago is none other than the former Geo Archon himself, Morax. After all, he is the god of commerce and wealth, and Mora is literally named after him. There is a possibility that he was not born a god, and rather gained a vision and later ascended to the level of godhood. Legends of the god of Geo do stretch back thousands of years, so the odds of finding this specific Masterless Vision from back then are quite slim. But it could be by fate that Ningguang found this vision and had it resonate with her. And who knows, maybe she will become the next Geo Archon, as Zhongli said another one would rise one day. Anyways, let's move on to the final character now, that being Mona. Mona's Masterless Vision was gifted to her by her teacher, and was said to be a teaching aid she could use. Mona treasures it greatly for this reason, and took it everywhere with her, leading to it one day resonating with her and reactivating the Hydro Vision. According to Mona's story about her vision, she sees the vision as just a tool to help her see the truth of the world, but also treasures it as a gift from someone she looked up to or saw as special. This thought led me to a certain character, which might not seem connected at first, but the more I thought, the more it kind of made sense. This character would be none other than Rosalind Krushka Loafalter, who would later be known as the Fatui Harbinger La Senora. However, I'll just mainly be focusing on her time before the Fatui as Rosalind here, as I think that when Rosalind became Senora, she lost her original ambition, and thus the vision deactivated. To start off, Mona seeks the truth of the world. Truth is heavily intertwined with justice, which makes sense as the Hydro Archon is the god of justice. While we don't know too much about Rosalind's history, we do know that she studied at the Sumeru Academia, and could have also wanted to know the truth of the world in her own way. There is also the fact that Rosalind used to possess a certain timepiece that was described as being related to Hydro in some way, as seen in the Crimson Witch of Flame Sans artifact piece. While this timepiece could have just used Hydro energy, it could have also been powered by Hydro Vision. Rosalind could have even still had her Hydro Vision when she became the Crimson Witch of Flame, as she was still pursuing her own version of justice then. However, I believe her vision may have lost its light when she joined the Fatui, as she started becoming more ruthless and less caring of the lives of others. Besides justice, the two also share the fact that they were given a Hydro object from a special person in their lives. Mona was granted the, at the time, Masterless Hydro Vision from her master, while Rosalind was given that Hydro timepiece I mentioned earlier from her lover in Mondstadt, a member of the Knights of Favonius named Rostam. They also both possessed big hats, attended the Sumeru Academia, and practiced arts that others don't know much about. Astrology is sometimes seen in a negative light, with people trying to deny their fates, and liquid fire is now an art lost to time, and one that could have been seen as dangerous. I think it would be cool to find out that a character like Senora once possessed a Hydro Vision, which would show how much she really changed after she lost Rostam. Masterless Visions themselves are just full of mystery, and I can't wait to learn more of their secrets. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video.